Praise the Lord. You are tuning into the media ministry of Apostle Barbara R. Thomas. This ministry is designed to bring forth revelation and encouragement and to enlighten your minds. Now listen as the woman of God brings you revelation from the Word of God.
This is my night of freedom. Yes. Come on. Look at somebody else and tell them this is my night of freedom. Y'all didn't say it like you really want to be free. Y'all didn't really say it like you want to be free. Come on, look at somebody and tell them this is my night to get free. Yes. Hallelujah. My God. If I don't know nothing else, I know that the Lord is sick and tired of us playing games in the house of God. Come on. And so we're in a season right now where He's just messing us up. Yeah. Because we're no longer able to sit in the midst of the Spirit of the Lord and hide who we really are. Right. And because we are being identified, amen, many of the people are now rebelling against the voices that God is raising up in this hour. Because their voices don't have the churchy sound in them. Amen. And we are here in this conference because we're tired of hiding under the things that we want to keep covered. My God. And so the Lord began to deal with me. And I thank God for the woman of God. Come on, give God a hand praise. Thank God for His host. And those that need to thank all the men and women of God on tonight. I was driving down the highway and I heard the Spirit of the Lord say, tell the people that I'm getting ready to close down the Leper colonies. Come on here. And I said, God, what are you saying? He said, the church has become a place where it's a gathering for those that are unclean. He said, the problem though is that the people are coming unclean, and by the time they leave, they go dirtier. And he said, in this hour, we have to get rid of all those things, those issues that have been holding us in captivity. Because the church has become a place that refuses to identify the issues that are within the people. We want to shout and dance over all that stuff and lift up our hands and act like we got it all together. When in reality, we are a church that are full of people that are unclean. The Lord began to deal with me. He said, has become people that are now in a position, even those that are in leadership, are running around with unclean hands, unclean mouths. And the Lord began to tell me, he said, it is time out now for us coming among each other. And there's no purification taking place. And he said, the reason why is because, and you got to watch it now, because he said, the reason why you have the churches now that are operating in all kind of filth and junk. He said, because you got to remember, the lepers were not allowed to go among each other. They hung around with who was just like them. And so he said, now you're dealing with people that are now connecting to each other because they have the same thing working in them. And so the church now has to get to a position now, because it's time out, because we don't got into a whole lot of trouble, because we have allowed ourselves to get messed up, not just with the sheets, but with the pillows too. And the Lord began to tell me, he said now is the time for the people to come out of the sheets. Now listen, the Lord has me doing a book, and I'm in the midst of writing, finishing it up. But that book he gave me to write was The Sheets Be Talking. Wow. And it deals with everything that connects people to sheets. And it talks about the different scenarios that comes when you get in certain different kinds of sheets. And so the people of God have been messed up because they have allowed themselves to get covered by people that have the same issues that they have. And the reason why we can't get deliverance, how can the men and women of God deliver you when they still dealing with side issues themselves? And we got undercover stuff going on in the body of Christ that the church refuses to deal with because nobody feels like sex should be talked about in the church. And it's doing that. If you read the Bible, and if you really go into the Old Testament, God dealt a whole lot with sexual sins. Right. Leviticus, he goes all into it real deep about the sexual sins because he understood the ramifications that were connected to people that had sex outside of the boundaries that he created. Come on. And so many times the people don't understand what is really taking place once you begin to engage in sexual activities. And so they begin to look at sex many times as just a way of them getting pleasure, rather than understanding the spiritual things that are connected to sex when you're no longer operating with sexual sins in the boundaries of what God has said. And so now it's, and you know what? We got to make sure that we understand the difference between having sex and making love. Come on, come on. Come on, Jesus. My God. Come on. Let's go. And our problem is we have not gotten an understanding what it really means to just have sex. Right. Or when you're making love. Come on now. Come on. Real. Come on. And so many times, and I heard the woman with our testimony, but many times all we did was have sex. And some of us are married and we still just having sex. Because we got issues that we have not dealt with among ourselves. And so when we get a husband or a wife, we still don't know how to make love to them because we never learned what real love was all about. Many times we're saying we're in love when we're in reality. We're not in love. We ain't even in love. We're just doing something. And we're just doing it because people say it's good. Right. But when you have encountered sex, like I've heard some of them talking about earlier, when your first initial contact with being intimate is with somebody that violates the law of intimacy, then you don't understand really what it means to have someone to minister effectively to your body. And so we got to pull back the sheets now so that the people can get a true understanding now of what it means to make love with your spouse. See, when you're not married, I don't care how much you say you love them, you still just having sex. Because God only comes down and begins to bring about a change in your identities where you're interchanging each other's spirit. When it's in the boundaries of what he set up, which was marriage. And so now we have the people of God, because you got to understand that sex is not just for you to just get your pleasure. God had a specific plan when he brought about being able to be intimate with your spouse. He was looking for something greater than you being able to say, I had my orgasm. Come on. gonna be strong. He's looking for more than that. And we got to understand, if we really understood what the meaning parts of our bodies really mean, then we'll get a more definite understanding of what God is really talking about. Because we have to understand, and I heard the woman of God saying something, and we got to get an understanding that men, when they releasing into you as a woman, they are leaving their testimony in you. Wait. Come on, Jesus. Because the word testes is derived from a word that means testimony. That's why when it comes to the court of law, because in him is his identity, his testimony of who he is. And that's why DNA is so important. That no matter how much he tries to deny it, his DNA testifies. In other words, his sperm carries his identity, his testimony that I am the father of this baby. Here's something happening. And so we got to understand that God now is saying that in order now for the people of God to get free from the things that have came through sex, that have caused them to be messed up, I got to right now begin to extract the testimony of a man or a woman that did not belong to me. He says, so now, because you got to understand that it's very important that a man does not awaken a woman's love before time. That is good. My God, it's real good. Speaking. The Lord began to deal with me because in almost you have to understand that when a man begins to awaken a woman's love without having a mind to marry her, God determines that man is not fit to live. That's right. He testifies and he says to the man that if you cause this woman to lose her virginity and awaken her love before time, you have to pay her for the rest of her life. That word. Because in you, she has your testimony. And because of that, because now part of your identity is now in her. You're going to pay her for being in her. So he said, you're going to pay her for leaving yourself in her. Because you weren't supposed to enter in. Because that wasn't the one I wanted you to leave your identity in. And because of that, now you're going to have to pay her for the rest of her life. Oh, God, you're going too fast. You're going to get free. Jesus. And that's why no matter what he does with anybody else, he will always remember you. See, a woman. I'm getting free before 2017. Come on, amen. A woman can cause herself to override a man's. Wait on. Now you talking. But that man remembers that woman. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Because he has injected himself inside of her. So he's always there with her, Because, I'm about to mess y'all up. Because no matter how much, woman, you think that he forgot her, he's going to always look for her, even when he with you. Look at somebody and tell we're pulling the sheets back now. And so the Lord began to tell me, he said, we gotta close these leper colonies down. Because we got a whole lot of infectious people trying to heal each other. It's a problem in the body of Christ because we won't take the time to help people get delivered because we're too busy trying to be deep and religious. And if we would have opened up classes, because everything pertaining to life is quoted in the scripture. I'm still trying to figure out why we can't talk about certain things. Why is it the church won't deal with molestation? Why they won't deal with that? Why they won't deal with incest? Because it was going on among the believers. And so we have to understand right now that God is saying, in order for my people to get delivered, then now the church is going to have to deal with the issues that they didn't want to talk about.
Come on now.
And that's why preachers are able to continue to molest, rape, and commit incest because the church won't talk about it. And then when someone does raise the issue concerning a minister, the preachers get together and fight the victim. And tell you that you're trying to tear up somebody's ministry. And then they leave the victim that had to encounter someone that didn't get themselves together. They leave them broken while they're still lifting up the predators. And so the Lord said, now we're going to get rid of these leper colonies. Because let me tell you what they're doing. Those that are predators are now going after the ones that have been victims. Yes. And they're setting up leper colonies. Jesus. Because they're getting everybody that has the same issues that they can take advantage of and use to their advantage. And they're drawing them. And then they massing it as if they got a deliverance ministry. My God. And they'll say, everybody they got sexual molested or raped or something, I need you to come over here because we specialize. Jesus. And the problem is they're not specializing in deliverance. They're specializing in making victims. And so you got to watch these people that say that they are deliverance ministers. Come on. Because if you go in there and still ain't nobody delivered, then why call yourself a deliverance ministry?
Come on.
Because if you're a deliverance ministry, the minute people walk in your door, come on. Deliverance is supposed to take place.
Amen.
And the Lord began to tell me, he said, the reason why, I'm going to say something to the women, the reason why a lot of times the women cannot advance is because the Lord said they still stuck in them little girl worlds. Come on.
Wow.
So they have been attacked. Let's are taken advantage of.
Wow.
And they have came to a place and they've never advanced from that time zone. And so even though she has an adult body, she still has the mind of the child that was molested, the one that was hurt, the one that was abused. So the women in this day and hour can't get whole because you got girls trying to mess with girls.
My God, my God.
And so we don't have grown women with the ability to help little girls grow up.
Come on. Hallelujah.
Because we as women many times don't want nobody to know the depth of what we've been through, especially when we get a little tired. We try to act like we ain't never been through nothing, and we ain't never suffered nothing. We ain't never had no encounter with nothing. And we don't want nobody to know that we're still dealing with issues. And that's why they walk around and they're preaching. But they're preaching out of their pain and out of their hurt. And they're hallelujah. And that's why they trying to tear up everybody's house. That's why they tell the women that divorce their husband. And that's why they tell them to walk away and leave their family. It's because they have never grown up into a woman. They still think they're a little girl playing with dolls. We can't get deliverance in the house of God because of the lepers that are in there. Leprosy. Look at somebody and tell them leprosy.
Leprosy.
We have to find a cure now.
Yes.
And the reason why we can't get a cure is because people don't want to admit they're sick.
Yes. That's right.
I need you to think that I'm all right because I got an image.
My God.
And people used to tell me, he said, "You're too transparent." I said, "That's the problem with you preachers.
Come on. Come on.
You need to tell people what you're dealing with and stop trying to be perfect." And it's causing the people not wanting to get delivered because you making them feel like they're supposed to be perfect. I'm striving for perfection every day. And if I don't stay prayed up, it's going to tell them what I might do.
Come on, tell the truth. Amen, tell the truth.
And the people are now in a position, and I was reading when he talked about the man and woman of God. And you got to understand, I was looking at the story of David and Bathsheba. She got caught up in a situation.
Yes.
Because somebody saw the opportunity to take advantage of her.
Come on, ma'am. Jesus.
Sometimes we talk about the goodness of David, but David has some issues. And a whole lot of times, people with issues attract people with issues.
Yes, ma'am.
And so sometimes we're marrying our mirror.
Wow. Wow.
We're marrying our reflection. I'm marrying what I look like.
Come on.
And then we go into marriage already with problems because you're marrying your reflection.
Wow.
And you're trying to get something to work out of two broken people. And each one want to blame the other for the problem in the marriage.
Come on.
Instead of taking responsibility for what they did.
Right.
When my ex-husband told me one day, "I don't want you because you're a good woman."
Wow. Wow.
That he don't want a good one.
Wow.
And that was one I ain't never heard. So,
Right?
I'm scratching.
Come on.
He said, "You're a good woman," but he said, "But I like whores and prostitutes." And so my mind for a minute was messed up. Because you're telling me I'm doing everything right and doing everything good, but I'm still not good enough.
Make it plain.
Come on.
For you to want. Even though I'm good.
Yeah.
But you don't want me. Because I'm good.
Yeah.
And I had to realize exactly what he was trying to tell me. And I'm like,
Want somebody like?
oh, this nigga crazy. That's what I said. He is crazy. Because how can you tell me that you have a praying life, a prophet to a heart,
Keep on going. Come on here.
wisdom,
Come on.
help you become a better man?
But
Couldn't get him saved from the waist down, but I got him.
Amen. Come on.
But he became a better person. Favor began to come in your life. God began to elevate you. You begin to walk in places that you ain't never walked in before. You begin to dress better.
Come on.
But yet, it wasn't good enough for the issue that was in you. That's what I was trying to get to.
All right.
I had to recognize that I'll never be good enough for the issue that he was in. And so it wasn't because I wasn't a good wife. It was because his issue could identify with the goodness that I had.
Hey, hallelujah. Come on, say that loud.
And so sometimes you're trying to do better when you ain't the problem in the first place. You're trying to change your appearance. You're trying to do all this and do all that. You're trying to make it right. You're trying to even do the little fancy little stuff in the bedroom and everything. Trying to make everything look good. And it still ain't going to be good enough because the issue is not in you. The issue is in him.
Come on. Hallelujah. Glory God. Jesus.
Look at somebody and tell them, I got to pull these sheets back tonight.
I got to pull these seats back tonight.
Even the men marry women that have identity. It ain't a crisis. It's a trauma.
Come on.
Because your identity gets messed up.
It does.
When you begin to encounter stuff that goes against what is normal.
Come on.
And I heard somebody talking about, who's that talking about? Yeah, you're in love. I was telling the people about that not too long ago. I said, my body don't want it no more. But my mind keep it wrong.
Wow.
Until I had to get delivered.
Come on.
In my mind.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
Because that, what he said to me, bothered me. And I began to question, what did I do? And then you begin to question who you are.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
Because you're trying to understand, what is it that makes me a flaw to who I love?
Jesus.
And then how can you 1 week tell me you love me?
Come on. Well.
And then the next week tell me you don't want me?
Come on here. Come on.
How do you change?
Who identity like that? Come on.
Like that? And I had to understand that he was in an identity trouble too.
That's what.
Because there's no way in your right mind
In your right.
you flip in and out like that.
Right.
Ma'am, come on. In the right. Thank you.
There's no way in the world you don't love me on Thursday and then on Tuesday want a divorce.
Come on.
Preach the word.
It's so wrong with that. You got to understand that there's something, and you need to understand those split personalities coming in.
Yes, they will. Oh, God.
Because you got to understand, this is what the Lord began to tell me. He said, you're going to begin in the church to see more issues concerning mental disorder.
Yeah.
He said, because now what I got to do is I got to begin to reveal who's in them.
Come on.
In order for me to get them delivered now, I got to begin to cause those personalities, those other people living in them. I got to begin to cause them to show up. Because I got to take all that now to make you whole. Even though these things happen, I got to use all these people that are now split off in you to make you whole. So now I'm getting ready to begin to show. And he said the church now is getting ready to deal with the people that seems to be having bipolar and schizophrenic issues. He said, but in reality, deliverance is taking place. Everything that's in them is going to begin to come up out of them. And it's got to come up and it's going to be on this night. And so now the church is getting ready to deal with people that ain't going to know who they got. That's why it's something. And so when my husband walked out on me, whenever a man tried to approach me, I watched to him. When I had good enough sense to say this, I said, sir, you don't want me right now. Because if you get me right now, you're going to have to pay for everything he did right now. Because right now, I ain't healed. I ain't trying to be healed. I'm trying to tell you right now. I ain't trying to be healed. I still got some business in me. I still got some resistance in me. I want to do something to him. Because I wasn't looking for love. He woke my love up. Come on. And then didn't want it.
Wow.
So I was upset. And I was preaching, traveling, but I was upset. Until one day, I made up my mind, wait a minute. He still got pieces of me.
Come
that
on.
he toyed with.
Come on.
Because every now and then he'll try to call to see if he can steal.
Oh, come on. Come on.
But then when he called one day, I answered the phone. I said, Helen. I said, Satan, the Lord rebuke you.
Hey, come on.
I said, whatever you have is gone now.
Hallelujah.
I'm free.
Thank you, Lord.
I'm free. I said, no matter. I don't care. You don't mean nothing to me. Don't nothing move. Don't nothing react.
Come on.
Ain't nothing going on no more. I know you called me just to see if you still got it going on. I said, Playboy, your play days is over with. So I understand with women, and I deal a lot with women because we take the bulk of it because we are receptors of what a man issues into us.
Ma'am.
And I always try to let the men know that you don't want your identity spread all over the country. Because you'll never be satisfied either. And that's why even in the intimacy of marriage, we having so many problems in the church because people have not gotten healed. They have not been made whole. what we do is we put a Band-Aid on something that need to have surgery on it.
My God. Stickle in that.
Woo. We need more than that. We need some extensive surgery done on our spirit and our soul. Because our soul is jacked up.
That's right.
Huh? Because we got issues in our soul, our emotions, our feelings.
Yes.
Come on. Hallelujah. That's why it's so easy now. When you have been hurt and have been taken advantage of, it's easy for you to lay with someone and not feel like it.
My God. My God. My God.
I've seen and had to deal with couples where they were passionate until it came time for the initial act.
Yeah.
And then she becomes a freezer and he becomes a refrigerator. And neither one of them are able to satisfy each other because they have not dealt with the issues. And so nowadays we have to deal with both men and women because we got men that have been molested. And the thing about men is they don't want to openly expose that they have been violated by another man.
That's right.
And so we have to deal with men that have undercover issues going on with themselves because they're in an identity crisis. Because what they consider their manhood has been taken from them. And so they're in an identity crisis. That might have been the only initial time they dealt with it. But when they get married, they begin to not have the ability to correspond with you as a woman in loving ways. Either they can't function or they try to function too much to prove they're a man.
Man. That's so true.
I watch men that are horse. Usually if you get in the spirit, you'll find out somebody don't tap you. Usually if you get in the spirit, you know, if most men that I've noticed that really go because they're trying to rebuild their manhood. And to them, being able to function sexually is what makes them a man. When a whole lot of men don't understand. See, when you get a real woman, intimacy to her is not really the initial act of sex.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
You can hold her all night.
Yes, ma'am.
And let her feel the security of your love.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you can bit bam, thank you, ma'am, all day long. You know what I'm saying? It still don't mean that you care about me.
Yes, ma'am.
But when she see you take your time with her, she begins to understand that you really love her.
That's right.
When you can take your time with her and show her intimacy. And some kind of way they don't mess that word up to mean sex act. And that's not what intimacy is all about. You can sit up and talk to me all night. And get anything you want. Because I like communication. To me, that's intimacy. Talk to me all night. Reveal to me, talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. I want to understand you, baby. Because in order for me to understand your rhythm, I need to know what you feel and what's all about. Y'all, see, that's why the church all jacked up now. Because they ain't got no rhythm.
Amen.
I got to know how to correspond with you in alignment with who you are. In order for us to have intimacy, I have to be in alignment with your spirit. So talking to me helps me to learn who you are. Being able to just lay in your arms and you whisper in my ear.
Come on.
In that deep buried white voice. And tell me, baby, we just gonna lay right here. You just gonna tell me what I'm feeling. And he don't have to do nothing. But we equate love with the sexual act.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing anybody can be aroused.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody can take their time and minister to who you are.
Hallelujah. Come on.
We need to teach them how to minister. Because what you don't understand is marriage is a ministry. Everything in it is an act of ministry. So I have to be able to satisfy more than his body when I am intimate with him.
Yes.
Because I can have his body but not have his mind.
Come on with it.
I can have his body and not have his mind. Because he can make love to me and be thinking about you.
Yep. That's right.
It don't necessarily mean he's thinking about me. That's why sometimes they accidentally call the name they say. They call somebody else's name because that's who was on their mind while they was dealing with you. So you don't have to know how to minister to them to bring you two in alignment so that he can get the other one out of his. Seriously, the church needs some classes.
That's right.
Because our marriages are so messed up. And it's because of things that we were not taught. And like I said, if my initial act of sex was somebody abusing me or molesting me, then I never have been taught what it really means to be intimate and to minister back to the person that's ministering to me. If all I have encountered was something abusive, then that's all I know is abuse. So when they ain't treating me bad, calling me all kind of names, being rough with me or something, then I can't comprehend what they're doing. Because this is what I initially had, and this is my introduction to that. And so when you see people like that, that's why they'll search for somebody that's going to abuse them. Until they get healed, that's what they're going to look for. And so we have to get it in now for the people, because now the church is just messed up with a whole bunch of messed up people, and the preachers are help messing them up.
That's right.
I got a serious problem with preachers that are predators. And I be want to just, grab some of these women in their neck. What you mean you can't say nothing because it might mess up his ministry? His ministry already messed up.
Jacked up.
God ain't in here running around here taking advantage of you.
That's right. That's it.
And I hear people say, but they were grown. They were grown, but they had a problem. They were grown in their body, but their mind was still there because they've been molested before. They still being molested again. And all they doing is sitting there saying, well, it's going to happen, so I'm just going to let it happen. They're taking advantage. They're taking advantage of your hurt and your pain. So God is saying now, he said, I gotta do it. I gotta deliver the people now. It's time for us to get delivered. We have so long just sat among each other and had masks on for so long till we don't even know our own identities. First off, you don't know who you are if you never got past the issue. You don't even know what you're capable of being. I heard this one of the God's testimony. I said, yes, she won that came out, but what about the ones that did? There's some still in it. And thank God she went and got herself where she's able to help them. And she'll be a good asset to the kingdom because she's been there. I got a problem with these folks ain't never had nothing go on with them and then want to talk to you like they're crazy. Like you can just get over it. No, baby, I can't just get over it. I can't just let it go. I'm gonna need some help. And they don't want to take time out with you or anything. And come on now, you just can't put no blessed oil on me.
That's right.
And think I'm gonna be all right.
Tear it on.
I'm gonna need some spiritual therapy.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need somebody that can talk to me with an understanding, but yet not make me crippled.
That's right. All right.
With what I'm going through. See, I don't need you making me crippled when I come to you for help. And that's why you gotta be careful who you go to. And that's why I come you as leaders, those of you that are leaders, don't put your people that are hurt in hands of people that ain't got no wisdom.
Tell that truth.
Because they ain't gonna be able to mess them up. Can't no self-righteous person ever do anything or anybody in ministry. Because their words gonna be, well, you can just get over it. That's the devil, and everything is a demon. Ain't no demon. I got a mental issue from a situation I've been through. That's the mental thing. That's the emotional thing. I ain't got no demon in me. I need you to help me to get my mind together so that I can see the value of who I am. For a minute when my ex-husband told me what he said to me, I began to devalue myself.
Yes, ma'am.
I was like, am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? And I began to devalue myself. Until I recognized the fact, wait, I'm a good woman. And I had to just look at myself in the mirror one day and tell my own self I was fine. And then he had the problem. And there ain't nothing wrong with you. And I had to talk to my own self.
Yeah.
And I wasn't crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Sometimes you got to tell your own self about your own back. And so if nobody else, and so that's why right now, I don't care what they say, I'm very ticky. I don't date. I don't just open my.
Amen.
I'm not opening my heart like that.
Yes.
That's too much stress.
It is.
Keep on just dating, getting your heart involved, and then find out, oh, that ain't the one. I don't do that. I said, God, when you ready, He gonna find me. When you ready, you will present me to Him. Just like you presented Eve to Adam, present me to Him. I said, I don't have time to be trying to let everybody, like, I ain't no sampler.
Come on.
For everybody here is part of me.
Tell the truth.
People lying to you when they say that I'm trying to see if you the one. No, you automatically know. It's in there. Don't let nobody play that game on you with it. God will let you know that's your mate.
Come on. He said the man. Come on. Amen.
Come on now. It don't take you no 5 years to figure out if you want to marry somebody.
What? Come on.
A man knows within 3 months if he wants to be married. First off, what a man does before he even, I'm talking about a man now. I ain't talking about a playboy or nothing like that. I'm talking about a man. He's already sized you up before he even asks you to go out. He's already sized you up, set down, analyzed you, everything. Saw you 20 years from now. He added a few pounds of everything. Saw you, hair gray and everything, and how you gonna look. He don't saw all that. He don't already set back, and he don't took his eye, and he can just jump over there because you look good. He don't analyze you. And on the first date, he don't know if he wants you.
That's right.
I'm telling you, these men try to be little slick, but I'm finna shell all of them.
All right. So did I.
They know on the first date if they want to marry you. Right. Men were the ones that taught me what to look for concerning man and what a man looks for. Yeah. I'll never forget they told me, they said, you know what we look at? He said, it's something about a woman that carries a good purse and a good pair of shoes. Come on, shoes. He says, that says something about her. I said, a purse and some shoes. They said, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's something about a woman that has a good purse, a good pair of shoes on. Says something about her tells us about her character. Mm-hmm. He said, because it says that she wants to make sure she'll always be able to stand on her feet and make something of herself because she got that good purse. Which meant that that purse to them represents a woman that knows what success is all about. Wow. See, you thought it was your hips. He said, those shoes to us says that she is able to stand on her feet. Wow. That purse represents a woman of prosperity. My God. Ain't talking about the knockoffs either. They look at that. Men look at that. Men look at when you go out to eat, how you order your food. Mm-hmm. Whether you'll be conscious of overtaxing him. I don't mean to order off the dollar menu, but don't order a $100 steak on your first meal. Wow. I'm telling you, they look at this. Mm-hmm. They look at all of it. They're trying to see, would you be able to handle his paycheck if he give it to you? Are you a woman that he can trust to value his hard work? He want to know if you'll look out for him. While he looking out for you. Can I trust you to budget where we won't ever run out? I'll take you out and take you out and he tell you, all I got is $100 and you order something for $99.95. You ain't thought about him. He looks at all that. I'm going to help y'all. Because this is how the women in the church losing out. Because they so materialistic. Till they run all the men. They going to get sinner women that know how to run a household. She's a sinner, but she know how to run a household. And he'll deal with praying her through. Rather than to deal with somebody that say they got it all together, but they ain't got no sense. And so they're looking at that. And we as women, we got to do that. And see, you're more than a bed sheet. And that's what the men are looking for. Let me tell you something about men. Yeah. Don't ever get it twisted, baby. He'll lay with you until Jesus comes back and never marry you. Come on. But the one that he got to pursue, that's the one he's going to take to the altar. That's it. Because then he know he can trust her. Because if she didn't give it to him, she ain't going to give it to nobody else. Amen. And so we have to understand as women at this time now, we got to get our value back. Because we are the ones that cause men to devalue us. Mm-hmm. I'm an old school. I believe in a man being the provider of the house. I believe in him being the head of the house. Mm-hmm. Not stepping on me though. But being able to provide and be that protector. I don't need no man that somebody breaking in the house, he trying to sit me down the stairs while he laying up in the bed or hiding in the closet. And so we as women too, we have to begin to demand that men be men now. Mm-hmm. When men are around, listen, I'm looking for you to open the door, right. Car door, walk.
Come on. I'm going to wait till you do it. Mm-hmm.
In a church, I look at the men in the church. Because this is where I find out Brother Jezebel and Ahab are in there.
Huh. Come on, teach me. I'm listening.
On whether this is a real marriage and a real church. Y'all looking at me crazy.
That's right.
I look at how the men, if you got men in the church, there's no way in the world that they should leave a woman by herself in the church. Right. When they go out, I'm looking for the men to walk. I'm looking. You can't talk to me. You can't talk to me and you ain't walking nobody out in the dark. Yeah.
Come on.
And I told the women this. When a man wants to take you out, if he can't pay for your meal, he ain't going to pay no bills.
Tell that truth.
I don't do Dutch. This is a date.
What? Come on. That's right.
This is a date, brother. That means you pay. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
What you mean we want to have?
Who do that? What they do that at?
I myself, I don't need you.
Come on.
I pay for my own meal and eat
every time.
And eat by myself. Before I allow you to take me there. Because if that's the way you're going to treat me on the date, what we going to do if you get married? I'm not going to have on no bills. I'll help you because I'm your wife.
That's
not
right.
Because you making me.
Yeah. Come on. That's
Don't
right.
bring me out of my house where I've been paying bills by myself. To come in here and pay half. And I know they don't like that when you teach it like that, but that is how it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. He's the provider. We messed up because we started letting them stay at home and babysit while we went to work. I wish he would. Sir, you're not going to sit up here and look at me all day.
That's what's up. That's it right there.
You better go out and find a lawnmower or something.
My daddy got a business. Enjoy.
We got to get rid of these sheets now. All this stuff under the sheets. Not knowing how to be a wife. Not knowing how to be a woman, period. Carrying yourself with dignity and poise. Come on. Hallelujah. You ain't got to show all your assets and liabilities.
That's right.
To get a man's attention. You got to almost get butt naked. Thinking you're going to get something. All you're going to get is a bedroom.
Some sheets.
Some man was trying to talk to me, and I told him, I said, brother, what you got to offer me? What you got? Besides some dirty clothes and a big appetite.
Y'all wasn't ready.
You don't even know how to approach me as a man. No, hey, you. Who? Who you talking to? And then I told one man, I said, sir, you can't even fold my stockings.
Jesus.
He
So I
wasn't
being
ready.
funny, I said, but your mindset ain't even where I'm at. You over here talking about when we get an apartment. I'm in a house. I'm in a house. I'm in a whole house. What are you running back yard? You talking about apartment. Sometimes you gotta understand.
Stop that.
You gotta understand. I'm not trying to get no apartment.
Come on.
But these are the things when we begin to devalue ourselves because of things we went through, we don't think that we need anything greater than the hurt we have encountered.
My God.
You've been abused, and all you think is you're supposed to be hurt over and over and over again.
Wow.
I did a marriage seminar, and I was just, my mind just couldn't comprehend a couple been married, what was it, 35, 40 years. And the woman didn't even understand what an orgasm was. Wow. And I was like, ma'am, we would have been in therapy or something.
Help us, Holy Ghost.
Somebody would have been in therapy because somebody would have had to explain to me why you getting satisfied and I'm not.
Come on.
This supposed to be a mutual agreement.
That's right.
Y'all looking at y'all mutual agreement.
Yes.
Come on. So there's something wrong with it when he's getting all the pleasure and you just there crying. And this is how other spirits begin to come in a marriage. This is how masturbation and different things, pornography and stuff begin to come. And you know what? The women now are in pornography more than the men.
That's right.
And that's because we have a whole lot of undercover drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So they trying to look and see what they ain't getting. They trying to figure out what they need to do.
Hmm.
I do a class that doesn't go beyond the boundaries of what God said concerning marriage, but I do tell the people, God, sometimes you need to experiment with different positions, different things. I got 101 ways.
All right now.
And it never gets perverted. It never gets perverted. You have to just know what to do. Sometimes you have to do that, because it can be boring. When he do the same thing over. Come on. This is what they don't, because you know what? The older generation, we were taught that sex was only to have babies. And it was once or twice a month. On Saturday, make an appointment like you going to the doctor. That was let me explain. That's how they taught us. That's how they taught us back then. That it was once or twice a month, usually on Saturday night. So you go to church and really dance. Twice a month. And that's for the young and the old. Now, young folks, you telling them they can't have relationship with each other but twice a month, that's crazy. And that's why they were having affairs and different things, because they wasn't getting anything at home. And I know people say, well, you love me, you shouldn't, but if you love me, do something. Don't be serious. You love me, do something. Because whether people know it or not, that is part of marriage. I don't know who told them that wasn't part of it, but that is part of marriage. But when people really understand the exchange that takes place in sex, in making love, sex, even with sex, the exchange of personalities, the exchange of soul, join together, the bringing together and doing that, then you need to understand. You also need to understand that when you do it outside the boundaries of marriage, that right then God ain't just the only one standing there. Satan is there to bring in other spirits. And that's why after a while, when you keep on fornicating, you start wanting to do all kind of other little freaky stuff. Stuff you ain't got to know.
Telling the
Stuff
truth.
stuff you know you ain't supposed to be doing. You know, orgies and bringing in threesomes. First off, I'm not going to share my man with nobody.
That's right.
I definitely ain't going to bring you and put you in my bed. They would have to inject me with some kind of, and I'd be out of my mind for me to bring another woman into my intimacy with my husband. That's crazy. But this is what they do, and you know what? They're doing it in the church. They have orgies now. And so this is why the church is going through stuff, and this is why they don't want to deal with those issues. They don't want the sheets pulled back because then you're going to uncover me.
Come on, Apostle.
I'm dealing with husbands and wives now. Lord, I said, Jesus, we need some therapy class. I need to get me a couch and just make appointments. Come on, because the people are dealing with issues that the church don't want to deal with. And then when you bring it up, you got all the little stuffed shirts sitting there want to act like you don't see it because you said the word sex. Well, if they don't learn it the proper way in church, then the world going to teach them all kind of perverted stuff. And then when they begin to do all that, then we won't act like, just like we just crazy. Like we came to deal with it or something. This is a part of life. It's in the Word of God. If you read Proverbs, the beginning part of it, when he's talking to his son, he's talking about everything. He's talking about how to stay away from the strange woman. He talks about the woman that entices you. And he said, you going in her house and don't know that you're going into hell. Because she's going to take you a place you don't want to go. It talks about the adulterous woman. It talks about all that. Telling him. And then he begins to tell his son how every time you are releasing yourself, you're releasing strength from yourself. He said, don't give your strength to strange women. You're giving your strength away. Because then she begins to learn your secret and what it takes to take you out. Delilah knew what to do for Samson. She talked to him until she learned his weakness. And the thing about it, she wasn't even doing nothing with him. She had just put his head in her lap. Stroke his head. Boy, you stroke them men's head, you get the checks, everything. I'm serious. I heard the woman of God is true. I just tell people, I said, I can count on one hand and have some fingers left over. The men I had to go to bed with. I knew how to talk like her. You're not getting, One man was trying to talk to me. I said, I'll open my leg for less than $10 million. Woo! You got 10 million? Then they will come. Slightly open.
Slightly. All right now. Politely.
Ain't gonna be no full act. You want the full act, baby, you gonna have to. 10 million just slightly get a little bit. If you want to go inside, it's gonna cost you more.
All right, come on.
Come on. So I didn't have to worry about it because the men knew that she don't do that. She not. No, I ain't never been like that. I ain't. No. I ain't never been like that. Even when I was out in the world, I was like that because I just, I want to a whole bunch of people. I've seen women have all the different baby daddies and all that stuff like that, and just have a bunch of men, name all spread all across the, the city and everything. I didn't want to do that, but I got to do that. See, a man likes his ego stroke. Stroke that ego. Make him think he Hercules when he pee. And you get everything you got.
All right now.
He says, what do you want? What's up to have for my ego? Esther. See, when I talk about the story of Esther, I told people about this. I said, he didn't know who that was. They said, he didn't know, but he knew Esther's spirit. I said, now she was different than the other women because some kind of way he had to do some communication with her because he knew her. He knew enough to trust her that if he gave her half of his kingdom wasn't going to be destroyed. And so many times a man don't give you 100% of his trust because he don't trust you with his kingdom.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And that's why we got to get healed, especially the women. Especially the women. When you have a wounded man, that's the hardest thing to do.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
He can be so cold in his heart. And that's what I had. He had been wounded. But see, he had wounded somebody first. But then when the shoe was on the other foot, he almost lost his mind. We have to get to a point. Look at somebody that told me we got to get rid of the lepers now.
Gotta get rid of the lepers
Y'all
now.
say it like y'all want to get rid of them.
We gotta get rid of lepers now. Come on.
So now we got to get rid of and the purification time of the lepers. Because now God is saying it's time to be clean so you can go to the priest so they can pronounce you clean now. We got to come out of it. It's time out now. We've had enough of the people sitting among each other and the issues are not being dealt with. And so to have conferences like this is a rare thing because even when they have them like this, they don't really talk about the real issues. They don't talk about the fact that I can't function with my husband because I'm still thinking about the first hands that touched me. And that the minute he touched me the way they touched me, it triggers a flashback. And he don't have nothing to do with it, but he don't even, and sometimes if they don't know your background on that part, they don't even know you have an issue. Because a lot of times when we go into those marriages, we don't tell them that we've been molested or something like that. We don't tell them that when I told mine, he didn't know how to handle it, that I had been molested, that I had went through a situation through my childhood. He didn't know how to handle it. So he didn't know how to be able to minister to me, to be able to cause me to relax with him. And I'm not just talking about sexually, just relax, period. Because when you've been molested, you're distrustful of anybody.
That's right.
It's just not them. You just lose trust in people. Because most of the time, the person that molests us is someone that we either respected or we trusted to not hurt us. Especially if you've been molested by a father or your brother or uncle or grandfather or somebody like that, a stranger, you can, but when it's somebody that you have trusted and you have saw you grow up and all that stuff, you're not looking for them to hurt you, and then they hurt you. Right. And so when they would touch me in that way that they would, not knowing that that's what they would do, or they say something to you that's similar to what you heard when you were being molested. They don't understand it triggers something, and it causes you to begin to recoil from them. And then sex becomes a duty or something distasteful, and being intimate becomes ugly because you're remembering all these bad memories. And until we can get our deliverance, we'll never be happy with anybody. And that's why I tell people when they get ready to get married in marriage counseling, I deal with that part. And because the Lord deals with me very prophetically, I can see what they don't want to tell me. And a lot of times I'm able to draw them out, and he just gives me that. I'm anointed for people to come tell me their problems. And they'll come, and I'm able to give them the insight that is necessary for their healing through God. God speaks to me about things, how to tell a person to get healed. And this is what we need now. We need to be able to do it. We need to be able to tell them, okay, we're going to have classes so that we can tell them what they need to look for, what's going to happen. Because a lot of times we want to bring them through deliverance, but we haven't told them what might happen. That you're going to have to go through these memories. You're going to see all this again. Those feelings for a while going to be all tangled up and all that. And that's why they get messed up sometimes in deliverance, because we have not given them free classes about to let them know what they're getting ready to encounter. And so this is what the church needs to do now. They need to have the classes before they have the deliverance. Because in the deliverance, I'm telling you, you're going to go through conflicting emotions, and they'll come out worse, and you'll damage them more because you have not warned them what's going to happen. So when they leave out of the deliverance, they're trying to figure out why the next one I'm waking up and I'm going through all these conflicting emotions again, and nobody has told them what they're going to encounter. So it's good now that the church is trying to get to the people now. And it's just not about, because we got to deal now with marital stuff. Because I don't know if you've ever been married to somebody that's on drugs or alcoholic. They can rape you regardless of what people say. Because really, who wants to really be intimate with somebody sloppy drunk, smelling like? Nobody wants to. You know, and then if you don't do it, they're going to take it anyway, because their words are, you my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not
That's
right
right.
now.
You have just finished listening to the media ministry of Apostle Barbara R. Thomas. You may write her at Apostle Barbara R. Thomas, P.O. Box 13291, Durham, North Carolina 27709. Thank you for supporting the ministry.